All right, welcome everybody to Joint Northwest, Central and Coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council's Planning and Land Use Committees. I'll be chairing. This is Thomas Norman. We're started right at 6 o'clock sharp. That's my welcome. I'm glad to see everybody here today. Glad to welcome to our guests, our presenters. We've got two interesting topics to learn about. We've got one CRS prepared, so thank you, the author of that. With that said, I'll begin with a roll call for Northwest San Pedro. Linda Alexander. Here. Pat, I guess it's the part for you to quickly unmute. I said he was just walking away. Yeah. I'll skip back. Brock.
Brock says he can't hear, but he's watching us on closed captions, so.
Oh, okay.
Check that as a here.
Is that because there's a sound issue or you're listening to the news?
No, there's Pat.
Okay, Pat, you want to affirm attendance?
I'm here.
Okay, and Diana?
She's not. She's cooking.
Okay,
wow.
I'll take her if I heard her voice. All right, Craig Goldfarb. And we had a discussion. Craig Goldfarb will be leaving the committee, but is still officially a member.
Okay.
Jason there. In the room somewhere I don't see. All right, at this point, Jason is unexcused. Craig is unexcused. Sam.
Here.
Want your presence? Okay, Garrett.
Here.
Okay.
Here, present.
All right, we have a quorum at Northwest. Who wants to lead Central?
Can you mute?
This Central.
So I'm gonna go get a bundle from the phone up on the hill there and it's shop.
Robin, are you gonna do roll?
Oh, sure.
Robin,
I
you do
thought
roll call?
Central was doing it. Sure. Robin, Sarah, Adele.
Yes, here.
Okay, Greg. John Hopkins, Lori Feldman, June Smith, Alan France, couldn't make it. Mona Sutton.
She's en route.
Oh, okay, thank you. And Noel Gould. And Elise, I think I hear you.
Yeah, I'm here.
So it's just Adele, Mona, Elise,
Yes.
and
Yes.
me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. That was done very efficiently. We'll move on to item 2 on the agenda, Vincent Thomas Bridge, and I see he made it.
Hi, on.
Let's hide it.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Anyway, Augie Bezmalinovich from the Port of Los Angeles. And it was a couple of weeks ago, right, Elise, that Gene attended a chamber meeting at the Grand Annex. And he spoke about, tariffs and how it's affecting the port. And then he went on and spoke about the Vincent Thomas Bridge. As you know, that right now they're doing a lot of outreach and they want to do a deck replacement that will shut down the bridge for about a year as they replace the deck there at the bridge. So Gene was thinking about this deck replacement. And it's about an $800 million project to replace that deck. And I think during the Biden administration, he had a bunch of infrastructure money going out that was approved. And I believe 700 million was coming from the federal government to do that deck replacement, specifically at the Vincent Thomas Bridge. As you may know, ships are getting bigger. And the larger ships can't get underneath that bridge. The bridge is 185 foot tall. And these larger ships needed to be larger in order to get underneath there. So this kind of puts the 3 terminals at a little bit of a disadvantage, the terminals that are in the inner harbor there, because they can't get these larger ships.
How tall is the Long Beach Bridge?
Well, I don't know that answer, but let me finish my thought here just for a second. So the advantage of having larger ships, I mean, number one, environmentally, it's good to have larger ships because then you get less ships coming because they're bigger. And so it's less pollution. So there's definite advantage, environmentally, but also, things are just getting bigger. And it's, when you have to compete in this world and you could get these larger ships in your terminal and maybe these other ones can't, it's a disadvantage. So he was thinking about it. And Gene thought about it and the port, we thought about it and said, well, if we're going to spend $800 million on an obsolete bridge, I mean, kind of in this particular thing, why not look at raising that bridge? And so, let me see, it wasn't Brown and Root, I wrote it down. It was Moffett and Nickel that took a look at it just to see, can the bridge be raised?
Do we have to do the whole thing or do you just do a couple of sections?
Well, so in order to do that, the stanchions are the concrete that the towers sit on. And what they're saying is those towers need to be another 14 feet tall.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they need to be 14 feet taller. And the actual bridge length has to be extended 700 feet, 350 feet on both ends. And in order to do this, and then we could have a bridge underpass that's 211 feet. And the big ships could go underneath there. And his thought was, and he said, it'll be extra time to do this. And, we didn't do a lot more effort than that, just to see if it's possible. So we've ended that right now. Now, I can tell you this, several years ago, the port, and I talked to Chris Brown, who is our chief harbor engineer about this. Several years ago, the port did commission he thought it was Brown and Root, was somebody that looked at different things about building a new bridge, putting a tunnel, replacing the bridge with a tunnel. And, there were different things that they looked at, at the time. And I think the tunnel one was the least expensive one to do, something like that at the time. But anyway, to do this, where are we at right now? So the transportation secretary for the state of California knows about it. And they're trying to get to the governor's office to see that, is it worth looking at? In other words, why are we spending $800 million? Why don't we spend a little more and do it right, is the idea. Now, that's all I have to report, really. It's sitting nowhere. It's sitting at the transportation department. We're trying to see if the governor wants to look at this. Now, Diana Nave, is she here?
Yes.
Okay, Diana, she did ask, she goes, well, what could the neighborhood councils do? So here's what, if you would like to do. As the neighborhood councils, you could support the idea of taking a look at it. Let's take a second look at it before we go and close this bridge down and spend $800,000 on something that's going to be, that deck is going to last at least another 30 years. We're not going to touch that. Once we replace that deck, we ain't tearing it down. I mean, they're not going to spend $800,000 and then go and tear down that bridge, So all I'm saying is, let's just take a look at it. It may be too costly. We may not have the land for it, all kinds of different things, but is it worth to take a look? And that's all we're asking. Now, when we did the deck replacement, and I know several people in this room brought this up, and Elise brought this up too, and I know Diana brought it up. The idea right now is that deck is in real disrepair, right? It needs to be replaced. Because they're talking about, it's gonna fall down or, all kinds of weird things and stuff like that. Of course, they're gonna consider that. They will consider that maybe the deck is too far gone and it needs to be replaced right now. those are all the things that they have to look at before they make a decision. So all we're saying is, before we spend the money, should we just give it a second look and see if it's viable to do something, and make that bridge like Long Beach did. I don't know how big Long Beach, how exact height, but it's large enough where the big ships could go in.
It's 205.
205.
Ours would be bigger than.
And so ours will be taller.
There you
And
go.
apparently it's a 7% incline, and if we do it, it'll be an 8% incline, just 1%, difference. It'll be a little steeper if we do, add more stuff.
We wait, Axel had his hand up and Adrian has his hand up. Are you ready, Axel?
I can wait for my turn to report. It's related. It's basically if the scenario that Augie is describing doesn't end up moving forward than where we are currently. But I can wait for my turn.
Okay, we'll do Adrian and
So I just, two quick questions. What's the average size, the average height of ship that goes through under the?
I don't know exactly. I really don't.
Second one would be if we did, would that overlap with the current deck replacement if we were to raise? Or would that happen after the deck replacement?
No, we're saying if we did raise the bridge, the deck replacement wouldn't happen. Basically, I can't see, that bridge would be dismantled. Think about it, because the cables need to be higher. Right now, the cables go to the top of the bridge. Those
So it would be
cables,
just a new.
we're hoping to save the stanchions and be able to increase the towers by 14 feet and then rebuilding the bridge.
which is simpler than what Long Beach did, right? The Long Beach replacement was much more involved than
Well, they built a brand new bridge right next to it.
Right.
And, that's an option too, and a tunnel's an option. I mean, there's a lot of options, but yeah.
Also, sorry, just for the group, the highest point on the Gateway Bridge in Long Beach is about 515 feet. That's the top of the towers, and then the clearance is about 205 vertical.
And we're saying 210.
Jason has his hand up. Yeah, we're saying 210.
Yeah, so just curious, if we're gonna make the bridge taller and the whole structure's being ripped out, is there any opportunity for additional improvements? Or we're looking at the exact same lane condition, configuration and spacing as it is today?
So I did ask, would you be able to add another lane? Make it 3 lanes instead of 2? And I was told that would be very difficult. If not, the first, they just looked at it. They didn't really study it super deep, but the answer was no, it'd probably still remain as 2 lanes in each direction.
What about like a pedestrian way or some kind of bicycle?
Yes, no, that was not, they didn't get that far as far as pedestrian or, bicycle.
No,
No.
you're just saying you're gonna increase one section, increase the clearance 14 feet, couple of stanchions, everything else stays the same except the approaches.
I don't
The
know.
approaches
because
maybe.
I think the whole bridge, the whole roadway would come apart.
Yeah, no, absolutely it would.
Wait, respect, you had your hand up?
Yes, could the funds that are, sounds like already dedicated, I think you said 700 million.
Yeah.
From the Biden administration?
Yes.
Could those funds be transferred?
We definitely hope so.
Are we
yeah.
in jeopardy of having them rescinded?
That would all be looked at. And that would also, be part of the decision making too, because yes, who's gonna pay for it? And, it might be a public-private, venture going forward. There's all kinds of different options, but yeah, that would be looked at too.
And-
Because if you're losing $700 billion,
It's, yeah.
that's a
And
lot of
the
money.
Concrete, what you call them, stations?
Stanchions.
Stanchions. Would they have to be beefed up also?
Well, they looked at it and they're hoping that they will be fine, because if you do the stanchions, you might as well just put in a brand new bridge. Yeah.
Just a question and a comment. One, you stated that the new repair of the bridge, new surface would last 30 years. It seems to me with increased trucks and tonnage of the trucks, it's not going to last 30 years. And maybe that's another factor in changing whatever whatever needs to be done. The comment is, let's make it a drawbridge. Yeah?
There you go. Bring back the ferry.
When possible, I'd like to speak, but I don't have any method of doing it on my phone here.
Go next and then Garrett. Go ahead, Pat.
I'm absolutely appalled that Caltrans has done this without thinking about this need for the future for the commerce. Something very similar happened over in Long Beach with the Gerald Desmond and the new Gateway Bridge too. But so going forward in the future, I would hope that there's better coordination between the federal government and the port and Caltrans in planning to how to see future commerce. And addressing the issue about federal participation, the multipliers that happen because of federal investment in the ports and waterways is so great that it's almost criminal if the Congress doesn't approve funds necessary to improve the ability of commerce going forward, particularly seagoing commerce. So I'd say that the ports, the neighborhood councils ought to line up in favor of a new bridge or some way to be able to get ships in. I argue, I'm assuming in regard to that, if you can't raise the bridge to get back to the three terminals that are north of the bridge, that they would also look at maybe expanding the port outwards to get terminal access for ships that don't have to come under the bridge, so that you can get the big ships in out at APL or the outer harbor terminals. That's it.
Thank you, Pat. Garrett.
Quickly, do you know how, do you know what the rate of increase is on new ships coming out? Like, is it every 30 years, the ship size increases 10 feet, 20 feet?
Yeah, that's hard to say. That's hard to
Do
say.
you know what the largest ship is
It was in the Benjamin Franklin that was out here, and I forgot the exact dimensions. You can look it up.
Would it fit, if we build it this size, would that fit in then, or?
Yes, yes. The largest ships will,
Current.
yes, will fit under those.
Brian, we invoke the state. Did you want to comment at all? Thank you for joining us, Brian Martinez. I know you've got a report, but if you wanted to weigh in, no.
No, I'm writing all of this down. 14 feet taller, extended, definitely worth sharing with them. The drawbridge is it's a unique idea. I'd love to bring that back. I'm just curious, I think it was already mentioned whether the funding would expire. I really can't just truthfully trust this administration, but I'll get back to everybody by what Caltrans communicates to us.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
All right.
And as we speak, I'm going to a CAC meeting right now for the Vincent Thomas Bridge deck replacement project. So it parallels this meeting. So I'm gonna.
Oh, this.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt. That meeting, I'm still on hold waiting in the lobby.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of technical issue. I'm on the same one, Brian. It's not like me.
Okay, good to know.
Did you have something, Elise?
No, I was just gonna say, Augie, I know the folks in the room, and we had small businesses, terminal operators. They're very interested in this concept of replacing or making a change to the bridge rather than going forward with this expenditure and have it be not the fix we all need. So I just know that was the feeling in the room when Gene spoke and raised this issue. Very interested in pursuing that replacement project.
It's worth taking a look at it.
Look at.
Taking a look, yeah.
Pursuing information on it.
Thank you for coming tonight. Yeah, seeing the next two speakers might be going to the same meeting.
All right, thank you.
Trying to move us along and recognize our representative from our Council District 15, Axel.
Hey, everybody, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
No.
Clear.
Great. So I've got a couple of items, including, like I said, a follow-up on the Vincent Thomas Bridge project. I've been intimately involved in a lot of the different subgroups and subcommittees for different portions of the project. So maybe I can just jump in there, give you a small update on some work we're doing downtown, and then talk to you a little bit, give you some legislative updates. So starting with the Vincent Thomas Bridge. So the major issue that we were facing, and that was really kind of pushing folks towards the raising of the bridge or replacement of the bridge altogether, which was going to be an 11-inch permanent deflection of the bridge, meaning post construction, the bridge would be 11 inches lower because of the weight of the materials being used. So we would lose 11 inches in clearance. So that was not going to be acceptable to anyone. And really what Caltrans worked with us and their contractor over the last couple of weeks was finding lighter materials and kind of changing the scope of work a bit, adjusting it so that they didn't lose the 11 inches of clearance. So they've got it to a point now where the bridge will actually end up being about an inch higher than it currently is with the materials that they've replaced on their scope of work with. So crisis to a degree averted. Does it really look towards the future where we probably need a bridge that's about a degree higher at least? No, but in terms of the current issue that we had with terminals on the other side of the basin being impacted, I think we're in a good spot. And Coast Guard has been part of these meetings as well, and so it looks like we're all kind of going towards this agreement, being barred, mind you, that we don't move forward with some other kind of project to raise the bridge altogether. But that's one item on the bridge, and then another one is that we are actually working on ensuring that there's proper enforcement for the closure and proper resourcing. And so we introduced a motion yesterday, our office did, for requesting information from law enforcement agencies that are within the city's purview, including Port Police and LADOT for traffic control measures. So we're asking for them to give us their sense or their potential budget and resources that they'll have for next year when the closure takes effect, which as of now, we're looking at October, November of next year of 2026 for the beginning of the full closure. And so with that, this motion is also has asked Caltrans to install cameras to monitor traffic flow and monitor areas where intersections where we think that there may be some backups, some major backups, so that resources can be deployed there. So that's one motion that went in this week that's really kind of regarding the bridge closure and is looking to help us get ahead of this and not react to how we enforce, but rather be a little bit more proactive. And I can share that with you all. I could share that with Diana, and you guys can sign up for updates on the council file management system. And then another motion that, switching gears a little bit here, another motion that was pushed forward by the chamber and I think was sponsored also or supported very heavily by the neighborhood councils is the motion to transfer the jurisdiction of the medians on Harbor Boulevard from the general. Sorry, I'm getting some feedback. I don't know if there's another mic on.
I think it's Pat, yes, there we go.
No problem. So this the transfer of jurisdiction of median maintenance from GSD, which is City of LA, to the Port of Los Angeles, that was introduced yesterday, and it'll be going to committee in the next couple of weeks, probably post council recess, which is the beginning of August is when it ends. So that's moving forward. I know that was an item of interest to folks here. Sorry, Augie, if you're still in the room, adding stuff to your plate. And then one item of interest as well for folks here, which I'm sure you are all aware of, but tomorrow the West Harbor subsequent EIR, which is the modification that includes the amphitheater modification, is going to be at the Board of Harbor Commissioners tomorrow. So I'll be there to speak in support of the project from the council office, but I know a lot of folks in the neighborhood, if you don't know already, will probably be there as well. And then finally, to give you a little bit of an update on a project that is really ironic that I was here with the last administration, got started, left for a couple of years, and I'm back, and now it's finally getting finished, is the Beacon Street redevelopment funds. So we had these kind of the former redevelopment agency funds that were left in downtown San Pedro, included about $77,000 within the Beacon Street redevelopment area, which is roughly between 5th, 7th, Mesa, and Harbor. And I think there's a little stretch that goes down to 3rd Street. And so these were funds that we needed to use, and they had a whole lot of restrictions that basically had to be towards capital projects or infrastructure. And we had to the end of December, the end of this calendar year, to move those around to start expending them. Otherwise, we would have to revert them to the state. So over the last couple of weeks, I worked with a few departments, some stakeholders downtown, and we've got a couple of projects that we're going to be splitting the money up towards. And so that motion actually went in last week. It's actually 4 motions, one for each project. So I'll run through the projects quickly. We're going to be looking to install string lights or Tivoli lights on Harbor Boulevard between 3rd and 7th Street. So that's one project. We have wayfinding pedestrian signage that we're going to be looking to install on the corner of 5th and Harbor near where Colossus is. And this is to help when folks cross over from the port side of Harbor Boulevard, they're able to find their way downtown. I can give you some examples, but we're working basically with the PBID and their graphics department to kind of brand it as a PBID sign. And then we have $20,000 that we're putting towards the Chamber of Commerce for facade improvement projects for small businesses. So I'm going to be working really closely with Elise on managing that project once the funds move over. EWDD on our end will be the one that is kind of the go-between department, but it has to be spent within that area. So we'll find a couple of businesses that can use some new signage or lighting or whatever it may be to improve their facades. This is outside of the Jedi zones. By the way, this is an additional set of funds. And then finally, we added some permitting funds towards the San Pedro downtown gateway sign that the PBID is working on. And that's because there was a kind of a rift in terms of the amount that we were not foreseeing for permitting through BOE and plan check and inspection fees. And this will help us make up that gap and help us get that project in the ground before the end of the calendar year. So there's a whole lot of other stuff going on, but I don't want to contact the meeting.
Very well, Elise.
Axel, do you, because later in the agenda, I'm to provide an update on the Jedi Zone. Do you wanna do that while we have you here with us and
Yeah.
about our kickoff on July 24th?
Yeah, if you wanna go in first, and then I can plug up anything that we miss or how we
Want to thank the neighborhood councils for your support of the Jedi Zone, which is a jobs and economic development incentive zone on Pacific Avenue, 1st to 14th Street. There's a really nice facade improvement component to it, up to $77,000 roughly per storefront per facade. And we are doing a community kickoff on July 24th at Collage on Pacific to do outreach to all the business owners on Pacific Avenue to update them on the program and get them signed up to proceed and enter into the program. Axel, did I miss anything?
No, you're dead on. And one of the things that we're doing to begin with is a lot of times we put together, we kind of put together these new programs and we engage the community before they're actually rolled out. And so this time around, Elise had the great idea of kind of let's work with a couple of businesses ahead of time. And so when we have this kickoff, we can already show kind of proof of concept for what we're trying to do. And we have a few other ones in our district, which is really nice because we've learned some lessons. But Elise and her team have done a really great job, and we're really excited to kick this one off.
So we're hoping to have 3 pilot business storefronts identified.
Exactly.
Is our hope. Is what we're working on now.
Exactly. Nope,
Yes.
you got it down packed.
Any questions for Axel? Or we're going to Brian? No hands online, no hands in the room. All right, well, thank you so much,
Thanks,
Axel.
Axel.
Has the back meeting started?
Thank you all. I'll stay on for a bit.
Okay. Brian, thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you, committee. Thank you, Axel. I feel like every time you speak, I learn something new, even if I should know it. So good to hear from you. So just on the Vincent Thomas Bridge meeting finally opened. So just a few updates, very minimal. Last week, Senator Richardson and her colleagues submitted the $321 billion budget proposal to the governor's office. We've been in a marathon to get this done, and the governor's reviewing it now. This, again, y'all know this is a tough budget year, rising healthcare costs, tariffs. We're still facing a $12 billion shortfall. While Governor Newsom has backed off on some of the cuts for particularly the healthcare programs, the plan will still limit services for undocumented immigrants. The spending plan is expected to go before the legislature for approval later this week. So right now we're in marathon mode because the deadline is, again, June 30th. And because July 1st is the start of the fiscal year, then we go into trailer bill season. That's a whole different update that I'll get back to you on. But yeah, so if you have any questions about the budget, I'll have more info for you soon. Despite budget negotiations, the senator remains committed to bringing together our neighborhood leaders and Senator Wiener's office to discuss SB 79. More information to come. We're a little bit all hands for the budget, but right now we're going to be working with our scheduler, Senator Wiener's staff, to discuss to having more of a meeting virtually to discuss the amendment that was brought up to the senator. So just know that that's in the pipeline, and I'm working on to getting that done. Any questions on either of those two before I move on?
Question about Wiener putting the CEQA, the changes to CEQA. I think that was a Diana question. Or base concern was alluded to. Could you comment then for my benefit, Brian, on a note I got today that Wiener's seeking to use the budget bill to basically eliminate CEQA protections for Californians?
Budget bill to eliminate CEQA in California. First time hearing of it, though. I'll make sure to have a response for you at least tomorrow.
Okay, and if Diana hadn't already copied you, I'll send that. It's just something I looked at this morning. Wanted to relate. Oh, go ahead, Pat.
Well, Diane is here now. You might want to show her as in attendance. I thought maybe she would have a question just because.
Oh, yeah, no, she's marked as attending. But didn't know if she had any comments for Brian Martinez before he continues his presentation. We were talking about the budget, and I thought she forwarded something about language being added to the budget trailer bill.
There was the issue of, I think it was Senate Bill 603 or 608 with regard to CEQA.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, here,
yeah.
I found it. 607.
607, that was another one of concern, Brian.
It would essentially eliminate in-depth environmental review for a long list of polluting development projects. Greatest threat to CEQA we've seen in recent years. Please take a moment to contact Speaker Rivas. Yeah, I believe this is a winner one too. So if you're working with them, that's one that I know from past work I've done with the Environmental Committee for Northwest San Pedro. I can sense a very strong opposition to just cutting those protections for those of us who live near the ocean. So I think that's all we have to say on that, Brian, and we'll look forward to the report next time, and you can continue to report.
Absolutely. I'll communicate a constituent opposition. If any of the neighborhood councils write a letter or things like that, send it over. I'll communicate it. But thank you. Obviously, SR 47 is closed. Not the entire SR 47, but the northbound on-ramp on Gaffey for the next 6 months. So right now they're recommending the detour on Gaffey and Miraflores Avenue. But if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll do my best to get it communicated, but just bear that in mind. We're doing the best we can to get communication out there so people aren't more inconvenienced than they already are. But yeah, working on that communication. Last thing, we know there have been concerns about the recent increase regarding DHS, violence, things like that. It's been challenging right now. So organizations like Toberman and the YMCA are stepping up to deliver care packages. I myself have volunteered, but if you're looking to help out, they could use your support, our support. I'm happy to take a shift with you as well, if that would make you more comfortable. But just let me know if you'd like to be connected with anything or want to be a part of that ongoing sort of care package delivery process. But I do have some notes that I owe you as a response, so I'll try and get those to you tomorrow.
Robin has her hand up.
Robin?
Yeah, Brian, just one more thing before you go regarding SB 79. I do have another proposed amendment. I recently became aware that there's no Coastal Act savings clause. So I'm just going to send you a quick email explaining that and making that one more proposed amendment.
Coastal Acts saving clause. Thank you, Robin.
Sure thing. Are you guys frozen?
I think, Brian,
He's muted.
maybe he's finished.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes, that concludes. I was just looking at the Vincent Thomas Bridge. It seems like it ended early because nobody showed up, maybe because of the technical difficulty. But yeah, just an update. If you wanted to hop on that, it is now over.
Okay.
Fastest one I've ever been on, 10 minutes. Awesome.
Right?
And if Clay can hear me, I know you've emailed me, trying to promote you to panelist. You'll need to accept. Let's see if that's gone through or not.
Yes, I'm good now. Thank you.
Okay, great, Clay. All right, well, moving right along. So you're gonna be, item number 6, you'll be ready. You got Mike on deck. Let me pull up the PowerPoint so everybody can see. See what's going on. The news there, close that.
Full screen.
Just let me,
Yeah, I'm fine from here.
Is you sure?
Yeah, fine. You'll be able to hear me.
I go ask. Oh, there we go. Maybe. Here we go.
Mute.
Oh, yeah, I've got it. So I'm not gonna be able to mute while I'm presenting.
Oh, no, I mean Pat and Diana. I think.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Got you
Okay.
set up. So welcome. Thank you for coming. Mike.
Yes, and Tim's gonna
lead the presentation. Is that a microphone over there?
Yeah, this is it. So everybody should be able to hear me. Good evening. My name's Tim Howard, and I'm one of the founding partner of Howard Industrial Partners. And Mike has worked with you all to put together a presentation to give you background and an overview of a project that we are proposing that is a parking lot just to the north of the police station on John Gibson Boulevard. So the site is in the heavyweight corridor, and it's nothing as illustrious as raising the bridge or anything, but I think it's going to have some positive impact for our partners at the port and our labor partners and ILWU, et cetera. This is a view from the street on John Gibson, and we can just move on to the next slide.
I'll try to steer the.
Are you driving or who's
I'm
driving?
driving it.
Okay, so again, the project location is it's a vacant piece of property that's very long and narrow. It's on a hillside, and it runs from the north of the police station up to the back door of the Phillips 66 plant. So it's there, it's depicted there on the map on the left, and on the right is an aerial. And so that should give you a pretty good feeling for where we are. We're not in the downtown area. We're in the port complex. It's an industrial site. It's been everything from a pipeline and a tank farm to what it is today, which is leftover property from the old Harbor Freeway construction. So we can go to the next slide. Somebody?
I think there must be a lag or something because I'm trying to change the slide. Maybe you can take back over and. Okay. I'll stop my share.
So right now, I would tell you the site looks blighted. So, okay, here we are, guys. As you can see, we have the beautiful port in the background, but we have a problem with the homeless encampment, and it's just been, despite the fact that we're next door to the police station, we've had some real issues with trespassing and the homeless have moved in, and if you're not on it every day, then it gets to be overwhelming. So this is as of 2 weeks ago, and it was 3 months before this that we had cleaned the property.
Are we sure we're on the right slide?
Yeah.
Existing site.
This is not what I'm gonna build. This is what we've got.
And can people online see slide 3? Which
No,
says-
you were showing the intro slide. Slide 1 was shared.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it gets worse, so just hold on.
So one person can share at a time.
What we've done is we've produced this set of slides, and Mike can share that with each of the you in the council. Yeah, I think that's because this is gonna get technical and overwhelming.
It looks like it's working.
Oh, okay.
Let me just check. Is it
What the
working?
highlights are, it's been a security problem for decades. We've owned it for the last several years, 8 years. During the rains, when we were in COVID, and there was a lot of street camping on the other side of the Harbor Freeway, there's a tunnel that goes underneath the freeway that the camper people were discharging their waste tanks for their motorhomes. Everybody familiar with that?
Oh, yeah.
And then it rolled under the freeway and came to us. We've cleaned up 52,000 pounds of human waste that washed down. And that had to be treated as hazardous, so we've hauled that off to the appropriate places. Today, we're out there again, just a few months after the last cleanup. And we have somewhere in the range of, my guess is, 10 truckloads to haul out of there at 40,000 pounds each, so that's 200 tons of material that just gets deposited on the site. Caltrans has been no help. We've asked them to trim the trees so that they can't make the tree forts in there. And their response to us has been, well, we ran out of money the first week. So maybe if we hit them on July 2nd, we could get them to help. But they've been, we've gone to the highway patrol, we've done everything that we could think of, and we've got no help. So what we'd like to do is improve the property. It's on the heavyweight corridor. It's in the port complex. And if you just look at this isn't, it's not Wilmington. We're not going to stack containers. It's nothing like that. And we have site pictures and we have renderings that have been generated through the aid of our engineering groups. But what we've got is 393 trucks, chassis with a container on. Those will be taken from the port during the day. It makes the independent truck guys more efficient. They go across the street, they pick it, they put it here during the day. At nighttime, then they take those loads and distribute them through the Southern California region. I mean, they could go as far out as the Inland Empire to make their deliveries. So that's the concept. It's to improve efficiency. It's a short-term interim thing. It's not stacking. It's not leaving material. This is, as you all know firsthand, the logistics industry is all about efficiency. Augie talked about the ships are getting bigger. That's more containers. Where do we put them? We only have so much dockside space. So we need to look at sensible development that makes the port more efficient. And that's what we've designed here. We can go to the next slide. For everybody here is local. So we all know that we have a hillside. The hillside was, I think, just kind of abandoned after the freeway was built. It's zoned M3. It's the heaviest zoning in the city. So what we've come up with is how do we make it more appealing so that it looks like, we are the best port in the country. So how do you do that? So I've been in the development business 25 years, and I've always relied heavily on landscaping, California native materials. How do we put those to use and get it more of an even scale? So what we're going to do is lower the site down, because here it is up with the freeway. We'll lower the site. That makes the trailer shorter. It doesn't interfere with the sideline, and I'll show you those next. This is a bunch of technical stuff. I don't want to go into that. I could go on for 2 hours if we get into this. Let's go to the next slide. Again, we're processing through the port. The city is, the site's in the, well, okay, we'll go to benefits. But needless to say, we're processing through the city of LA. It's an allowed use through the city of LA. It's zoned M3. It's what they call a by right. But because it's in the influence of the port, we've been working with the Port Land Use Group for several years. And we had them shortcutted CEQA. We've done it twice, so we've double done it. I'm really proud of that because that costs a lot. So we've lowered the site, then 39% of the site here. I'll get my big head out of the way here. 39% of the property is landscaped. So, okay, what does that mean? So we'll install irrigation. will install California native material that are available in a commercial quantity. So somebody will tell me, well, you know, I like the wildflowers, saying, well, I do too, except it takes a long time and they're not available. We can intersperse it there, but let me show you what we've got. So 39% is landscape. And it's, you'd like it to be, business people would like it to be less landscape, but the site constraints for the hillside preclude that from happening. There is, from the old pipelines in the refinery, there are some oil stained soils on the property. We've got to clean that up. If you leave that junk in place when it rains, where does it go? Into the harbor. We don't want that. So we're going to clean that up. And the other thing that we absolutely do not want, and this is a part and parcel of how we manage the port, is that if you and I are truckers and we have 2 trailers, 2 tractors, and we can pull 4 trailers, where do we leave them? In the neighborhood. We don't want that to happen. So what we're doing is we're giving a place for people like us, who are small businessmen, to put their trailers during the day while we're pulling them out, so we can be the cab driver. We're all Uber people. We're doing a lot of runs to the port. We get them here, we put them here, and then we go out east. So that's that. If you look at the driveway that we've designed, Augie was talking about a 7% or 8% grade on the bridge. For the heavy loaded trucks, you want to max it out at about 6. So we've designed a 6% grade. There'll be no trucks on the street. Miraculously, working with the DOT, LA City DOT, we got a signal light. Because if any of you ever drive on Gibson, everybody's flying. I almost knocked off the front of my car pulling out today. And I just, you know, I can't imagine trying to do that to the neighborhood. So DOT has granted us a signal light. So hooray for us. And so that's about safety and security. Emissions will be reduced because we're right across the street. Okay, so we don't have to go 6 miles up the road to go park a truck, go back to the port to get it. We're across the street. So you do the math. Next slide. To Sequoia, to your point. So all the people who like ourselves, and this is the reason that a small company like Howard Industrial can do this. We're 5 people. I'm a 3rd generation Angelino, right? Okay. So, but Sequoia makes it so that we develop the way we want to do it in our neighborhood, right? I mean, would you agree? It gives us the local control. It gives us input of what we want. We've run through this twice. And there's no significant or unavoidable impacts because of its proximity to the port, the efficiency that we create. All the rest of this stuff is technical stuff that you guys would like to read, and we'll email it to you. Let's go to the next slide. That's next one. We're joking around here.
I'm sorry, I'm keeping the wrong one here.
There we go. So this is kind of a dorky, the jurisdictional. This is port, this is LA. The whole thing is, this is all LA, this is port. And that's why we had to go to 2 masters. Next slide. I just really want to get to this one. You can blow by. Hi, it's a great aerial, yada, yada, yada. This one is just showing the land use, that it's, if you look, it's all heavy industrial. So we're not taking away any kind of resi. We're not impacting that. The closest sensitive receptor is over 1,360 feet. And that's why it's zoned M3. And that's why that's the heaviest zone in the city. It would never get approved, but you could store dynamite there. Okay, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next. What are we trying to say here? This is, let's go to the next. You guys can have this. I'll email it to you. Again, let's go to the next. That's just showing the sensitive receptors. And again, there's nobody around for a quarter mile. And so we spent a lot of time driving the streets and what the impacts that this thing alleviates, it far outweighs any kind of negative. But here's what I wanted to show you. So guys, we're down here at the south. We're driving up the freeway. What is this gonna do? What is it gonna impact? How is it gonna look like junk? No, it's not gonna be stacked containers 5 high like off the San Diego freeway. We're not looking for that. What we're trying to do is minimize the impacts of sightlines so that we can, I like to look at the port. I'd rather see the port than the side of a truck. We drop the sight. We put in a 2 steel fence. It's probably, it's an upgrade. It looks nicer than the junk that the Caltrans has left us with for the last 40 years. And we have a retaining wall. These guys are low. So you can see with the trees, we're only hitting them kind of midpoint. And you can still see everything going on in the port. Let's go to the next one because I spent a bunch of time on this. Here's what we have existing. And it's the ficus trees, which everybody knows breaks the curbs, breaks the street, breaks the sidewalk, blah, blah, blah. So here's our retaining wall. We've landscaped it, we've put in trees, and here's the driveway. Doesn't show the signal light because I'm trying to dupe you. No, it's just we didn't have the money to put the signal in, something. But I've done this for 25 years. I think as an Angelino, I think this looks better than that. We have the responsibility to improve the port. We have the responsibility as a group to leave things better than we found. That hasn't happened in 2 generations in Los Angeles. And I think we can do it. Let's look some more. That's the middle. That's the Gibson, middle of the site. Let's continue. Okay, here, guys. We're up north. We're driving down the freeway. We're going to go to San Pedro. Okay, what do we see? You can't even really see it because on this side of the freeway, we're higher than that. So we're up here. We're looking down. We don't really see it. That's what I was shooting for. That's what we're trying to do. If you look at it, I think we've been successful in it. So I'm pleased at how this looks. And this isn't sleight of hand. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars gang. So
the only difference is you cut down the ficus trees or something. I just see some trees.
Well, no. Now we're up. The ficus are down low on Gibson.
I mean, it looks the same except for the trees.
Well, they are. Yeah. They are because
trees are going down.
The trees are where they are. There's some ukes up there on the top, and that's off property. So those are going to stay. Even though if they were Caltrans or
so they're missing from the
proposed, they're gone.
Yeah. But I think we've satisfied our goal here.
I know an environmentalist might ask me this. So from the previous one, when you said you're going to get rid of ficus valhate, what were the smaller trees you had back in the back? Do you know what type of tree that was going to be?
So we've been using liquid ambers. We've been using podocarpus. We use a lot of cypress for it to indicate the entries.
That's good enough.
You want more? I got more.
They might, Alan or somebody might ask.
No. So here's where you want to go. Let me tell you where you want to go. When you're looking at a guy like me, you want to say, I want at least a 24-inch box. Because the other guys who don't live here, who didn't grow up here, will plant a 15-gallon tree. And they'll tell you, hey guys, if we water it, it'll grow. But in my decades, I'm gonna get on my soapbox for 30 seconds. My mom, my dad, my sister, my mom and dad met at UCLA. My sister went there, graduated from GSM, went there as an undergrad. Where did I go? I went to USC. Okay, so you can throw me out, keep me, but my family all hates me already, so that's why I'm so good at the development.
I sort of like the way you said that.
Yeah, sorry to let you down, sir. It's terrible. But okay, let's look at some other reviews, okay? Right next to it. This gives it makes it look like there is someone who has made an investment in our neighborhood and they're thoughtful. We're trying to do the development business. If you live here, you try to be thoughtful. I'm trying to be thoughtful because I lowered the site. I'm trying to be thoughtful because it's proximate to the port. I'm trying to be thoughtful because I'm trying to help the city I love become efficient and look neat and tidy. Let's go to the next
So what
one.
are we, before you go
Yes.
next, let me ask you, what are we looking at behind the railing, the fence railing?
So that is a trailer,
Okay, got it.
but it's down low so you don't see it.
Okay, right.
So you're only seeing it.
Why are we
So
seeing
you're
it?
putting in, you're
Well, I
putting
think
in
From the angle, parking lot.
So here's where this one is.
Yeah.
It's kind of down by here's the police station. And we're on the freeway, guys. So right now, the fence has a bunch of holes in it and the people drop the junk onto the property. For the murderers, we've had 2 murders. I didn't want to dwell on it too much, but that's the way the murderers jump on their Uber to get the heck out of there. And I kind of make light of it because it's a difficult thing to talk about, but guys, we've got to do better as a community at large. You know, this shouldn't be happening in your guys' backyard. I know it makes you angry
There's
because,
a big homeless encampment that's there currently.
well, yeah, I think you,
Yeah,
so
I know one-
we've been trying to get Caltrans to cut the trees. That's off my property.
Right.
So don't say, this is recorded, right? So I cut the trees down. Oh, they're up there right now with removing the trees. And so we had prostitution, murders, the police all know them by name. They go and steal at Home Depot, they go to Target, they steal there, and then they fence it.
Right. Well, I've done LAPD,
It's like it is. This is too
training
much.
above your property there.
Yeah.
So I've been all over the area as well, so.
So you know.
Many of us here there.
I'm not gonna rag on them because, yeah, I know, I do too, but we're in a public forum. So.
But thank you, this looks great.
So, guys, it's all about doing better. And so, let's just say LAPD doesn't want to work on this. They want to do whatever the heck they've got going on. So I'm gonna take care of this,
Thank you.
okay? You're recording. Okay, they know, they don't like me either, so it's fine. So here we are at the north. You don't see the trailers from Gibson. I want you guys to all know this, all right? We don't see them from Gibson because it's 16 feet higher. You're not gonna see it, you're not gonna see it, nobody's gonna see it. Next one, I think that might be the end. I might have run out of
Oh,
them.
there's one more.
Okay, so again, you lower the site, we're gonna have these retaining walls. I hate retaining walls. I don't want you to see them. That's why we've got 39% landscaping. 39% landscaping on this site is about just shy of 8 acres. 8 acres for regular people is like a shopping center, a neighborhood shopping center. Is that a fair description? That's a Costco, usually is on 8 acres. That's a Ralph's, inline stores, bank, that's 8 acres. So we've got 8 acres of landscape.
Nice.
Drought tolerant, it has to be. It's got to use 50% less water than just, mowing the lawn kind of stuff. Drought tolerant, California native. And what are we doing? 24-inch boxes?
We're not to others.
So, and no Home Depot trees, how's that? So they'll come from commercial nurseries, commercially available, and I'll commit to you all a 24-inch box would be the smallest tree. Because it drives me crazy. We've done projects from here to Long Beach to Compton to Santa Fe Springs to all the way out to Lake Paris. And what these guys will do is they just won't spend the money on landscaping, and we've got to do it. We absolutely owe it to ourselves. So at the end of the day, this is going to be better than the way we found it. We're adding a signal light, we're lowering the sight, we're saving the sight lines, and we're making the port more efficient. That's all I'm going to tell you.
You mentioned that the trailers are in residents, be dumped in residential areas.
I think right now they are. But what this does is it gives them 400 spots to go park their trailer for the day. So what I'm telling you is that if you and I are truckers and we need to make the number of trips to support our families, if I can go across the street park and pay to park my trailer for the day, and then I have my 4 other guys hauling at night, I can make a living. What I can't make a living is driving the trailer 6 miles up or driving it into Wilmington, disengaging, dumping it for the day, and then going back and getting it at night. I can be much more efficient if I know I gotta go across the street. We're right at the gate. All I gotta do is cross the street. I'm gonna have a signal. It's gonna be safe. I'm not gonna have trucks on the street queuing because I've got a long driveway to get up that hill. It makes all the sense in the world.
I want to take questions on behalf of Gwen, who would probably ask this question, stakeholder. Will there be any showering or facilities for truckers?
No, I think that's problems. I think that just creates problems.
Just asking because she always thought there was a need for that.
I'm a hard ass. No.
And I'm not advocating this.
Thank you for asking for Gwen.
All right. Sorry, Gwen, for the blind spots, but no.
No, there's other places to go.
Yes.
All right.
For the savings?
So here's what happens is the truckers will run 24 hours a day, or they'll make a long haul. And so they'll go to places like Flying J and the other places that have food, fuel, showers, okay?
And
We
we don't
don't
have that
want
locally.
them, we do not want them here. There's too many problems, and I can talk to you because I've done stuff in the Inland Empire. I can talk to you till I'm blue in the face. I don't want them, no.
Yeah, just the right. Okay, that's great to know. All right, questions? I know the natives have stayed on, so they might have questions. I'll give you the first opportunity if you're not enjoying your dinner. Okay, oh, here it comes.
Yep.
Right, Pat.
I have some additional questions. Is this is the neighborhood that's most impacted is Wilmington?
I think so, but you know what, I think so because that's what I've heard from other people, is I think that what happens is, and look at, I've done this decades, right? And I think that people will find, that the truckers will find the path of least resistance to drive, because that's the way they are. And I think if they can drop a trailer close by and it happens to be in Wilmington, that's where they're gonna drop it. We hear about it in the news all the time. We hear about people taking advantage of small communities that may be less politically less engaged. Is that what you would say?
Connected.
Connected, I mean, you're here, but I would say, listen, I've done stuff in all sorts of communities. I speak Spanish fluently. So if I'm in a Latino community, that's what I hear. It's like, Tim, I hate your trucks. You seem to be okay. Wait, but they hate the trucks. And what we're trying to do is just be efficient as we can so that we can be the gateway for not only Los Angeles's biggest economic driver, but we want to have a community. And the way we do that is by sensible development, being conscientious about who our clients are, who our business clients are, the ILWU. I've only used union labor, so I'm good friends with my unit. I'm good friends with the carpenters. Those are the primary trades that will be involved here.
And it's a by right project, you said.
On the M3 zone. So here's what happened. Okay, Tim, we're gonna sell you this land. I buy it from the port and say, thanks, fellas. No EIR? Right. I go downtown, I give them all my plans, all of this stuff. They say, fine, okay, go down to see Michael DiBernardo and the guys in the port because you need this
Right.
development. They go, hey, guess what? We got to do an entire sequence.
Okay.
So we've done that twice.
Okay, got that.
And we had no significant impacts on
Okay.
either one.
So do you need any discretionary approvals? That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
do need what's called a harbor development permit.
Okay,
I'm gonna go to the coastal commission and they're
Okay.
gonna ask me, are there opportunity for trails? Did you do
right.
the biological study? And I'm gonna say, well, no opportunities for trails because it's M3 and it's been oil operations and it's got contamination and I don't want to have the kids from
Right.
the elementary school traipsing up there and digging around in contaminated soil. So they're gonna go, okay, thank you. That
Okay,
makes sense. And then they should approve that. Then I go back over to the Harbor Board of Commissioners.
and they approve
And they
the
approve it, and then I
permit.
go back to the coastal commission in case they appealed themselves,
Okay.
right?
Okay, I believe you.
And then I go back to the harbor commission, and then they say, via con Dios,
Okay,
and then I go up and I pay my permit downtown.
okay, all
And
right.
that is 8 years.
Oh,
Yep.
boy, 8 years for that.
Oh, man.
Now I'm in that process.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to those two groups. It took 8 years to get there.
Yes, you spent 8 years.
Yeah.
If you got approval, say that a special meeting tomorrow, how long would it take you to finish the project?
So it's only about 7 months of construction. I'm not building a building, I'm building a parking lot.
Right, yeah.
I'm really good at parking lot, building and, no, I've only built 20 million feet of building.
Yeah, so you're moving soil. Okay. All right, Axel, you have your hand up. And then Pat, I saw you were unmuting, so we'll take you next if you wanted to. Axel.
Sure. So just wanted to make sure that I made it clear to the group that our public opinion as the council office has been in opposition. I did get a chance to chat with Tim, chat with these folks a few months ago and was at our recommendation that they communicate and meet with the neighborhood councils because this project's been in the works for a long time and to all credit to the developer, the previous council administration was supportive of the project. Very
And so
supportive.
was Tim, and actually, so was Tim at the beginning of his.
Sure.
So. just-
So that being said, some of the issues that we have are, it does require a port master plan amendment because the site is actually listed as open space currently on the port
And
master
the
plan.
industrial open space, okay.
Yeah, and so it would require a port master plan amendment to transfer the use over to maritime or change the use over to maritime support, right?
Okay.
So that was part of the issue, and that was the suggestion that we had is that the council member has his mindset on opposition, but that he would be open to hearing from the community if that opinion that we've gotten for the last couple of months has changed. Then we're obviously always open to taking a look at our positions, but that's where we stand for now. So I didn't want to mince words or kind of hold off or not be on here to provide that insight. And I do credit Tim and the group here for coming and speaking to you all and getting your opinion. And I know you've got Wilmington lined up next at some point. And so our opposition was based on the requirement for that port master plan amendment, as well as there's a very tiny sliver of it that is in Wilmington. And that would violate the ICO that we have in place for trucking uses. So those were.
Okay, so Axel, let's just put But the Wellington slice is about 10,000 feet against 1,000,000 square feet.
Wow.
Okay, so.
Okay,
So
yeah.
if and we're not building on that.
Right.
So it's unbuildable. It's up here at number 3. So Axel's correct, but that touches Wilmington. We'll let the Phillips 66 guys worry about that. Okay,
Maybe just landscape.
so I'm landscape.
The 10,000 square feet could be landscape.
It is
It
landscape.
is landscape.
You
Okay,
can't
that checks
park,
that box.
okay?
Okay.
And then to continue on, we wanted to be with you all first and be able to present it. Axel was kind enough to give us this. This is what we do. It's a process. We go through public outreach. The political falls in line. If you all can see your way clear of supporting it.
So Axel, I've been up on the site several times over the last 25 years through different owners. What, if you're opposed to this, what is the council member suggesting? Landscaped open space? I mean, what is he looking for other than, I mean, a parking lot? I'm just curious.
I think, I mean, not that he has any particular project envisioned. I think it would be remaining as open space, which is what it is listed as in the Port Master.
The whole property is not open space, though.
Not all of it, no, correct, not the northern.
Industrial.
It's zoned industrial.
It's, the whole property is zoned industrial.
The one thing, having said, and Pat, are you ready to speak or able to speak?
Because Pat was up first, right?
I don't.
Right, and one more thing before I jump, and I'm gonna jump off only because I don't wanna, I know you all have a discussion to make and it's not my job to put my thumb on the scale one way or the other, right? So I wanna be respectful of the developer, give them the opportunity to make their pitch to you all, and then you all decide without me virtually influencing, even though you can't see my face. So I'll leave it there, but I did just wanna make that position clear. And Tim, I do credit you for coming out and chatting with the community and making your pitch. And so I'll keep to my word, and whatever the community's opinion is or ends up being, or the way you all vote, I will definitely speak with the council member. And of course, we're always open to consider. So I'll leave it there. And if you all need me or have additional questions on context, I don't want to interrupt the presentation any longer. So you guys can all reach out to me. Everyone there probably has my cell number or social security at this point. So we can chat whenever you all have some time, but I'll leave it there.
Actually, let's not like me. All right, so we got a speaker. I just wanted to also thank you, Tim, that I know Diane and I asked you to delay once or twice, already 2 months. So appreciate your patience for that, and glad you got to speak to the group. I've learned since the last time the committee has voted against it, one thing you haven't addressed is the amount of additional miles that the units would be driving. I think that was one of the key deliberations in the environmental committee of Northwest San Pedro, or one of the proposals. It might have been a past proposal. So wanted to think about that while we turn to you and your question.
Yes, historically, assuming that you've done projects very similar in your 25 years, do you hold and manage the property, or once it's up and running, do you sell it, or do you sell it fully entitled, ready for someone else to complete?
So those are 3 options. My personal preference is to hold it because I don't think the port's gonna move anywhere, and it's been there for generations. And so if you can hold something, it's better to hold it.
Yeah.
My desire is to hold it. I think that if we do this correctly and it's institutionally operated, we're in a lot better space than weed farming and blue tarp cleaning up. So that's what I tell you. But to answer you directly, I want to own this. I mean, I could wear a Hawaiian shirt and count trucks and collect tickets. It's pretty easy. That's a good retirement plan for me.
So your company would manage it?
Correct.
So like 2 employees would take to.
Yeah, I mean, how many? You're gonna have
Well, no, we
to hire
have
more people.
I'm making a little bit of light of it, but the ILWU will staff it, right?
Oh, okay.
So we'll have union guys collecting the ticket.
Okay.
They will check in, check out, we'll know everybody who's there. This is gonna be as secure a site as anybody has ever operated. There's gonna be no showers, there's gonna be none of this.
Right.
It's gonna be quiet. There's not gonna be any transloading going on. We don't have a cross dock to back up to and take junk off and let stuff
Right,
roll
right.
around.
It's
into
strictly
the
temporary
water.
parking.
Yeah,
It's-
temporary
It
parking.
has to be efficiently run.
But the port or the union has to, I mean, is that the deal for them to
It's
have their
crazy.
blessing?
Okay, I like union labor.
Yeah.
I always get what I pay for out of the unions. You may not like them, may love them, I don't know. But I've always gotten the best quality product. And if I take you for a day and show you what I've built, and show you the oldest one versus the newest one, you say, the old one's in great shape.
Mhm.
The newest one's in great shape. So I built a giant building for General Mills. It's 1.7 million square feet. It's a mile around, so we could go do labs, right? It feeds 5 states. If I walked into this building and you looked up and you saw all the Cheerios, you'd think we were feeding the world.
Yeah.
It's 5 states. So I can't gather.
Did you keep that property?
That one was with a partnership and it's with Prudential. And Prudential owns it. They will continue to own it until the cows come home. And I got paid a development fee on that. But that's a giant, I don't have the money to do that.
Well,
I'm a small business. We have 5 people, 3 of them are here tonight.
you're small business, but not that small.
I'm small, but I'm very powerful and I'm very determined. I'm gonna go over and beat up Axel. Then maybe McCosker too, but.
Oh, wow.
No, listen, those guys, Tim started in support of it. And then he did his political thing. And listen, this business is we're at the will of politicians all the time. He'll change his mind back. But I need you guys to understand that what we're trying to do is make it better. It's the entrance to the damn port. It shouldn't look like the entrance to a homeless encampment.
Yeah, I've got another presentation. So I want
Yeah.
to questions quickly. Go ahead, Lamar.
Yes, sir.
One thing, a clarification on,
Yes,
is
sir.
this a parking lot?
Yeah,
How long would trucks be there?
one day.
So turn around one day?
Yeah, because you and I are truckers. How do we make our money? We gotta deliver the goods. I'm gonna get it off the dock so that the bigger boats that we all know are coming can get the container onto the dock. It gets off the dock, it comes to our parking lot. We wait for the traffic to die. I'm just filling the parking lot during the day. I'm pulling the trailers off of the dock. Then at nighttime, we can go get 6 of our friends and they can take the container to the warehousing in the Inland Empire, Compton, wherever you want to go, Santa Fe Springs, Southgate. It's a really, really simple concept, but this is how these people make a living. And they can't make a living if they're willy-nilly driving through the neighborhoods looking for a place to drop a trailer. And Wilmington's pissed. And they should be.
Because that's where they end up.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was really good.
Yeah.
He's also offered, if members of our neighborhood councils wanted a tour in the past, we haven't.
You should go up and look at it and stand up there.
So that's
It's
still
horrible.
open.
Yeah, you should take a
But
look at it.
listen, let me get it tidied up. I'm tidying it up right now.
But I think I said that, for.
I should make it as dry as we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
If people that want to learn more, I'm sure you'll send Diane, myself, and then maybe then Kane, information on that, so we can do that. I want to make
This
sure.
has been fantastic. I really appreciate it. I really do, because you're gonna have, there's big giant companies that are gonna come and handle you about, oh, we want to do this over at the Phillips 66, and no, we won't put a truck out onto the Resi part of it. They've got to get out to Gibson.
Yeah,
How do we do that?
Yeah,
So,
Oh, here's Pat.
Oh,
hey, Pat,
Pat, go ahead.
Oh, boy.
yeah, Diana wants to say something.
First.
You go first. I got 10 areas of things I want to talk to him about. Let Diana go first. She's sitting right here.
Okay, well, first of all, I think, you did a lot of nice things. You presented to us a lot of nice things in what you said. My biggest concern is the traffic.
Yes.
I remember correctly from the EIR, you were talking about 1794 truck trips a day. That's a pretty huge number to be out there on that street. Is that still, have you changed your plans, or is that still what you're talking about?
Yes. No, the plan has been revised over the years. I'll double check on that, but there's only 400 spots. So I don't know, Diane, how I get to 1,000, but if it's 1,000 crossing the street, it's 1,000 times better than driving up to Wilmington and dropping a trailer.
Well, where are all these trailers coming from? How many of
Across
them
the
are coming
street.
from terminal? They're all going to come from China shipping? Is there some guarantee that they're not coming over the bridge and coming, from other areas?
No, there's not, but.
Oh, okay,
But there's not.
okay.
There's
That's-
not. But I think,
and-
but what I would tell you, Diane, is that it's first come, first served, so
And,
I don't know. And I hope they all come to me.
and what is it? I don't understand why you say that would they'd just be driving at night and not driving there during the day and leaving there during the day.
No, what I said is that they fill the lot during the day. And then what they do is they go out at night when they can be more efficient and less traffic volume on the highways.
So at least the incoming traffic would be upon the day. How far is the
Yeah,
entrance?
so to be clear, is the incomings during the day.
Yeah. And how far is the entrance to your driveway from the tunnel that Phillips 66 is talking about having a lot of trucks drive through? Because that's on Gappy.
No.
No,
comes under it and goes on to Gibson.
you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
No, you're absolutely right. It's on Gibson.
because that's,
Okay, and that tunnel is about 2 feet wide. And I don't know how that happens. And so I've said, guys, I don't know how you're gonna have 8 million square feet of buildings going through that tunnel.
800,000.
It just doesn't work. But that's not my project. I have an idea about how to fix it though. And if you want to have coffee sometime, I'll tell you how to fix it. Or I'll come here and I'll make a presentation, but it can't be recorded. Yeah, no, it can be. It's nothing that hard.
Oh, well, Pat was gonna go there.
Pat, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Diana's not finished
Well-
with hers.
well, I just have one other question. And it's kind of hard sitting here in our campsite trying to figure out what you're saying, but you mentioned a signal. Are you talking
Yes.
about the existing signal, or are you talking about putting in an additional signal?
So we have, Diane, through the Department of Transportation at the City of Los Angeles, we have an approved new signal. Because what I don't want to have happen is what Phillips is talking about, just trying to willy-nilly drive out of that tunnel. We've got the DOT to give us a signal. I'm paying for it because I don't want anybody getting killed turning left or right into this site. There's no trucks that will queue on Gibson. We have a 600-700 foot driveway that they can queue on. So they drive up the driveway, they go to the gate at the top of the hill, and then they go to their parking spot.
Where's the tunnel?
Pat, can Diane hear me?
Yeah, she can.
Okay,
She's sitting right here. She's right here beside me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm right here.
all right. But yeah, it's a new signal.
Thank you.
How did you get DOT approval without having your EIR approved? How did you do that?
Well, that's part of the traffic study, and I've been married 25 years and I'm a pretty good beggar. How's that?
That's not an answer. Come on, how did you get?
No,
Are you telling me, wait a minute, are you saying that you got DOT approval or you hope
Yes,
to
sir.
get DOT approval?
no, I have DOT approval and I'm paying for it. That's how I got
He's paying
that.
for the signal.
He's paying.
You got, do you have a letter of approval from them?
Yes, sir.
You can furnish a copy of that to us?
Sure.
That is great. That is a great addition. to
Sure.
tax.
Okay.
And Pat, I wasn't making light of your question. It's just, you know what? This business is a lot of just horsepower. So if I commit to it and I know how things run, I'm gonna use the horsepower to get it done. I also have this project's big enough to afford a signal. Now, if you want to sit down and talk about my neighbor's project, I'm happy to do that.
You've got a traffic study that you can give us a copy of too, right?
Yes, we absolutely do. And I'm gonna have my office send it here to your group, okay?
Super.
Because I know you're concerned about it, and so am I.
Well, there's some of your traffic study is already attached to your EIR.
I'm gonna pull it out so it's easier to get to. How about that?
Yeah. Tom, I'm ready to ask some questions. I've got a lot of them, Tim. So, Tim Tunney, is that what your name is?
No, it's Tim Howard and then Mike Tunney.
Okay, Mike Tunney. Yeah. Something that's puzzled me for a long time is you've been working with the port for a long time. I'm just amazed that the port didn't seem to know that this is what you want to do with the property. Can you tell me how'd that relationship work?
So that has been a relationship that has evolved over two environmental impact reports. What happened was they studied the wrong area. They studied just their site, and then they realized that they were studying the portion of the property that's in the city. So then we had to redo the environmental report. We changed the project description because they wrote the project description wrong.
Didn't they know what you wanted to do with the property?
They came up with the broadest description that they could come up with, Pat. And it was way broader than what I wanted to do. So when we redid it the second time, which is what you see now, that's the revised and proper description.
I think that what I'm trying to get at.
Cut off debate, like sometimes we do time certain, so we just don't keep going.
Okay, some other people are talking and having trouble hearing him. But I mean, what I'm trying to figure out is if the port had any idea what was going on. It sounds like you've been working with them for a while. You know, before you bought the property, did you buy the property at some point after you had access to the landlocked parcel, or?
No,
I'm still confused.
Pat, what we did was we bought the surplus LA property.
Uh-huh.
What they told us was, we'll sell it to you, it's not subject to CEQA. And then when we went and did all of our planning for the parking lot,
Yeah.
the downtown people said, oh, you gotta go down to the port, and that's when they said, oh, well, the guys who told you that you were CEQA exempt didn't know what they were talking about, although it's an M3 zoning. So the M3 zoning's there, you still have to go get a port development permit.
Well, did anybody, go ahead, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, that's the gist of it.
I can remember back early days, there was talk about various alternatives for the property. It was at one point lodging for visiting port executives, you know, on the parcel, and some other things on the parcel. But I was trying to figure out, you're really entrepreneurs. I'm assuming that the port had some inkling that what you wanted to do on the property. I think at one point it was container storage, and then when that bottleneck kind of got relieved,
So,
post-COVID, it came to the parking for the chassis and things. Can you comment on that? I mean, did the port know what you wanted to do?
sure. So Pat, do you want me to go back to the hotel concept that far back, or do you want me to go?
Well,
Where-
I want to ask
where I-
you, let's go on. I can ask him, but I can ask about that later.
Okay, I'm gonna stay on this project and, so the port land use people wrote a very broad description. So part of CEQA is an art form, Pat, and you try to write a description that's very broad so that you assess all aspects of what your potential impacts could be. So that's why the description was too broad before. And once the port figured out that they had overstepped their bounds and influenced the city of LA, we redid the description to what is the most viable from a market standpoint. And what has transpired over the decades as the port has grown is that we need to get the containers off the dock and get them to a place where they can stage to go to the warehouses in the inland part of the county. So.
Was this coming, I'm sorry. Was this coming from the port? Was the port people raising this issue with you? That this would be a good place for?
When the wheels came off the cart and it became clear that we were gonna have to redo this, what I did as a businessman was to narrow the scope because I know how I want to operate it. And that's why the description changed.
Yeah.
And that's why, and then so I'm concerned that Diane might have had the old numbers from when it was willy-nilly, containers stacked on containers and trailers and cross-docking to the more modern description that we've come up with, which is the most beneficial to the port, which I think is the most beneficial to the community of San Pedro.
Yeah, I'm gonna interject now as chair, because we're giving Pat and Diana like 8 questions, and we've got three on the line and another presenter. So I'll put you in the back of the queue, Pat and Diana. You'll have to mute or unmute yourself, because I will mute you. If you interfere with the meeting, that's why I've been muting you, because you talk or have music or something, but we'll come back if you want. Jason.
Sorry, am I up?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just a point of clarification, Phillips 66 did present to us, and regarding the tunnels, they were proposing building a new underpass, not using the existing ones because they understood it would be too small for the use they had planned. So just as a point of note, that could be a potential space because there would be proper traffic flow should they build a different underpass.
Thank you, Jason.
That's all I have.
Robin. Next.
Hi, just to give us a little relief, I'm going to continue item 7 to next month unless anybody objects so that we can get done at a reasonable hour.
Thank you, Robin.
Sure. I just have a couple quick questions. You mentioned M3 zoning and then you mentioned open space. Which is it zoned right now?
Zoned M3.
What?
It is zoned M3.
So
All of it?
Okay.
Yes.
You're looking for our support. I know. By when do you need us to act?
At your leisure, but if we did it within the next 30 days, that would be much appreciated.
And then last question, what determines whether a project requires a port master plan amendment? Why did they require it in this case?
The geography required it.
What do you mean?
Well, we're across the street and the port has an overlay. The underlying zoning is M3, Robin, and then there's what they call an overlay. So when the port updated its master plan, and I don't know when the most recent one was because I can't remember, but when they did that, they put an overlay on it. on the portion that was kind of at the north end of the property, and they put an overlay that gave them the calculation that they needed in order to meet their open space requirements for their operation. So what we need is what we need is to have it designated as maritime operations, and I lost you.
Thank you. Got it. Thank you.
There you are. Did you get it?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Robin.
Pat came back into the picture there for a second.
Yeah, that's right. Noel is next.
Thanks. Appreciate the presentation, and thanks for coming out and doing that. I just had a quick question on the traffic, because you were mentioning the traffic at night being
Yes,
less.
sir.
And I'm just wondering, when you did that traffic study, was that taking into account the potential traffic from the West Harbor development and the potential addition of a 6,200 seat concert venue that would be having a huge amount of traffic coming in and out of San Pedro during the nighttime hours? And then, of course, the proposed hours for the blanket CUB for the entire West Harbor development is from 6 a.m. until 2 a.m. So that's the potential for a lot more nighttime traffic in addition to the potential concert venue traffic. So I'm just wondering how that factored into your calculations.
So we pay these traffic engineers a lot of money for these studies. They are familiar with what's going on. To get specific and granular, they usually don't. But I can tell you just over the last, I don't know, 15 years, is that the trucking industry tries to be as efficient as possible. So the on-ramp is about 400 feet from the driveway onto the Harbor Freeway.
The freeway on-ramp.
The freeway on-ramp.
Okay.
In English, freeway on-ramp is just a few hundred feet south of our driveway. So in terms of impacts on local traffic,
Freeway north.
no, I'd say the only place that's going to be impacted is from the driveway entrance to the freeway entrance, and that's along in front of the police station.
Right. Well, like I said, they're proposing a 6,200 seat concert venue, which is going to be a lot of vehicle miles traveled. Do you know offhand when the traffic study was done? Your traffic study?
When's the traffic study finished? It was completed like a month ago.
Yeah, so it's contemporaneous. It was done within the last month or so.
And it was reviewed not only by DOT, like Tim mentioned, but also port engineering, in addition to our traffic engineer. So there are three bodies reviewing it.
So no, the port has its own goods movement division that's kind of acts like the Department of Transportation at the city. So I'm, it's the city, but it's contemporaneous, the report is.
All right. Thank you. That was my only question.
We can go back to Pat then. Your hand's up, Pat.
Yeah. On your traffic, your traffic estimates actually increased between the draft EIR and the final EIR. It was lower in the draft, and it increased to 1,794 trucks a day in your final EIR. So that figures out to 1.25 a minute, 24 hours a day for the 300. Well, you're right when you say 393 spaces, but that's you'd have to turn those trucks over every 6 hours, because your traffic is like 4 times as much as your capacity for the parking spaces. How do you
I've got it. So Pat, you're right. The math doesn't add up there. And so what happens when you turn in the traffic study is that the Port's Good Movements Division gets a hold of it. So they make your impacts 2 to 3 times what they normally are, because that's just what the port does. So the DOT has one standard, so they're on the, let's make it as simple as possible. The DOT is on the metric system, and the port's bid movements on the imperial measurement standard. And so guys like me end up having to, you know, that's what helps you get a signal if you need it. It also is what makes you repave and rebuild more roads. That happens all the time. So I can tell you that from an operational standpoint, for these parking spaces to turn 2 times a day is a monumental effort. From an absolute.
So realistically, the traffic will be less than the.
It's been overanalyzed.
It's been overanalyzed, and Pat, they just do it. That's just the way they do it, because they don't want to hear from you that they underanalyzed it.
No, but what the port does generally when you have an impact is that they put a limitation on the usage on the site. With respect to your traffic study, one of the comments that we made from Northwest was the failure to include any analysis of the impacts on certain intersections, including Gibson and Channel and Gaffey, which would include any trucks coming to or from the facility on Westmont that sits up on the hill at Westmont. Yes. and Gaffey. So did you expand and look at your
We studied all of the intersections that DOT told us to, and if the consultants thought that there was more to study, they would have offered to do that. But what we studied was what we would have impacts on, and so we did what we're responsible for, and we did it to multiple times. So as Mike Tunney just said, it was overanalyzed. And so I will stand by what we've got. But I will also stand by, Pat, that just operationally, I think it's very, very difficult for business people to say, I'm going to turn that parking space more than 1 or 2 times in 24 hours. Because they are 100% focused on getting it over there and getting it queued to be moved at a later time. Because that's how they make their money.
Your drawings show, looks like the flat space where the 393 spaces will be constructed is elevated. Do you know how far below the surface level of the 110 freeway
so
that
Pat,
plot is?
Yeah, let's call the 110 freeway 0. And it's so 110 freeway is 0, and it's got to be between -4 and -6.
You're going to have high mast lighting on the lot.
So
yeah.
what we've done is the light pollution is foiled and screened so that it doesn't shoot up the hill. It's concentrated down, and with the new LED lighting and the screens that we use, we'll have a 1/2 foot candle on that parking lot is all. So it won't be high pressure sodium lighting spreading across the freeway.
That's what I'm most concerned about, because 4 to 6 feet below the Harbor Freeway with lights are going to be much higher than that, because the trucks and chassis and stuff are going to be higher than 4 to 6 feet below the freeway level. I was thinking about the lights in the eyes of drivers on the 110 freeway.
No, because let's say the freeway goes north-south.
Yeah,
right?
It does.
Okay, and the light's going to be on your western PL, and it's shining down into the parking lot, and it's screened from polluting. They call it light pollution. Then we go further to the west. So we've studied this. We have our electrical engineer get us a consistent 1/2 foot candle. I will tell you that it's not like Dodger Stadium lighting. What we're trying to do is just get to 1/2 foot candle and cover the site.
Your EIR said in several places that you would need permits from Caltrans and city engineers, and you're doing what, rammed earth retaining walls? What's the status of your permits from Caltrans and city engineering for the?
The permit that's required from Caltrans, Pat, is called an encroachment permit. What the encroachment permit allows you to do is to work on your property. However, at times you may have to encroach into their PL. We're not going to be working from the freeway side. We're going to only be working on the private property. So they need to be notified that we're going to be working adjacent to them, and there's an encroachment permit required. As far as the grading permit, that has been processed through the building department in the city of Los Angeles, and that's downtown. As you know, all of that capacity moved downtown and is no longer here in San Pedro.
As well as I would assume and hope that Caltrans is concerned about subjacent support. If you're gonna dig into the.
Yeah, Pat, and more so I am, because I don't want the bill for knocking down the Harbor Freeway.
What is Caltrans? Have you applied to them for your permits or?
Yeah, it's a relatively straightforward process, and it's done routinely in the construction business. I probably right now have 3 or 4 different encroachment permits active on different projects.
What could you tell us some of the other projects you've built and whether?
Sure.
And I'm losing the road here, Pat. So we'll take this as the last question.
Okay.
We got another person needs to present.
I'd love to talk about myself.
I have a question.
If you want to just.
Okay, we'll give you a question, then we're gonna move on, so our presenter doesn't get late.
Maybe you could just send us something with the.
Northwest, we can schedule them to our next meeting, so we can give you more time. Okay, go ahead, Pat. Diana.
Yeah, I have a question it's based on my ignorance of the industry. So these chassis get brought in there for the day. Where do the drivers go?
They go back and get more chassis, and then once they've filled up their spaces, what they'll do is the guys who were the daytime drivers then become the people who make the deliveries to the warehouses. So the concentration is to get the stuff off the dock, because that's one of the ways they get paid. But where they also get paid, and they probably make more money, is from taking it from the parking lot to the warehouse. So it's like a taxi. There's different, what they call drayage rates, okay? So just think of these guys as taxi drivers in a good way.
So what you've got is you've got the same guy going in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out several times during the day? Is that?
Yeah, it's like ants.
Yeah, interesting.
It's like ants. How about that?
Like ants?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking about the traffic that results from all of that.
No, I know, Diane, listen, we analyzed this and we had to do it that way in order to get the signal. Because as you know, Gibson is a fast street, it's a heavyweight corridor street. And to do this correctly, you have to have the signal, and that's why we have it.
That's why designated scenic highway.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you all. Thank you, Tim. I want to give place and time before we have to leave, so. We'll email, but I think Northwest will put it on our agenda, and if you're available, Tim, we'll let you know the date of our next meetings. Sure.
Great. If you want me to come back, I'm happy to do it, so. Thank you all very much.
So thank you, Mike.
Okay.
That's the next one.
All right, are you ready to go? Play.
Yeah, happy to. Can everybody hear me okay?
Okay, just give me a second to do the screen sharing, but.
This is the one I want to have.
You guys time, you know.
8 years in the making.
Hurry up and go nowhere.
Environment planning and three project descriptions, you know, we're just, yeah, 3 agencies. Yeah, the city of LA, the Port of LA, coastal, coastal commission. They're here, where we know what it's called.
Yep. And then when they're finally ready.
Could we let Clay get started?
They got on there.
Hey, and sorry, I'm getting a lot of noise.
Hey, Thomas, you need to turn off your audio.
Very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. They hoovered out.
Oh, my God.
Should I get going, or I don't know, I'm hearing a lot. I don't want to jump in, but I'm happy to go whenever you all are ready. And I'm happy to screen share too, if that's easier. You just tell me what you want to do.
Okay, everybody. Reconvene.
We have Claire only 8 o'clock. All right, you can play.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, I'll just jump in. And I can't see you all in the room. I'm seeing like the Zoom background. So you just yell at me if you want to interrupt me. I won't be able to see you.
But you can see the screen that I'm sharing, right?
I can, yeah. Yeah, and it's a really okay. I'll just tell you when to flip. It's a really short slide deck and it's 7:50, so I'll be quick. Thank you all for the time tonight to come and present. Sorry I couldn't make it in person. I was traveling the last 2 days, so really appreciate you letting me just join virtually here. My name is Clay Collette. I'm a senior development director with Ike Smart City. We partner with cities all across the country to deploy digital wayfinding kiosks that help folks get around the city, promote local business, promote city events, drive tourism. And the reason that we're here talking to you today is, and we're very, very, very early on, even if we're lucky enough to partner with the city of Los Angeles. But the city is exploring releasing an RFP, a request for proposals, and we hope to bid on it. So we've got to, win the bid to be able to do any of the things that I'll show you and talk about today. So we're very, very early on, but we wanted to meet with you all. We've heard, a couple concerns, relationship to street furniture, lighting, things like that. And I wanted to just open a dialogue with you all, get your feedback on what we do, and start conversation that, if we're fortunate enough to proceed, would be, years in the making. You can flip or stay here. Actually, what we do is, think of it like an 8-foot tall iPhone. So it's available for public use. So it's broadcasting free Wi-Fi. It's a free Wi-Fi hotspot. We have an emergency 911 call button on the spine that can also call 311 or 211 or really whatever the city prefers. It is flipping through a slideshow. When it's not in use, it's 2 touch screens, so a big iPad. When it's not in use, it flips through a slideshow of content that's art that we commission ourselves and curate with cool artists and organizations like in LA. We've worked with Mocha and Hammer and LACMA, to name a few. It shows city content, so 25% of the time is just city content, non-commercial, and then it shows advertising. So that is how our business model works. We show advertising when the kiosks are not in use, and we share a portion of that back with all of our city partners, and it allows us to maintain the kiosks at our cost, invest in software upgrades at our cost. Everything that we do, we pay for and we maintain. So this is completely free to the city and would actually generate significant revenues on an annual basis. If you go to the next slide, we're in 23 cities across the country. We started doing this in 2016, and in Denver, and since then we've spread all over the country. Here on the West Coast, and I lead our LA office, so we are local here. We are in San Diego, Oakland, Berkeley. I was in Seattle yesterday, where we received our final city council approval for Seattle. But we're in, cities of varying density, weather. So we're in Houston, Atlanta, Miami, Detroit, Baltimore. We've had a lot of success with this. I think a lot of folks, in the community tend to react pretty negatively to advertising and billboards. And I think what we're not naive to that. I think we've been able to grow all across the country because we're trying to do this in a way that obviously advertising is sort of the necessary evil paying for all of the work that we do, but we're trying to laden our product with public benefit, free Wi-Fi, with local business support, emergency messaging, benefits that we think actually add to the urban fabric and don't draw away from it. If you go to the next slide.
So, I guess, okay, thanks, Ken. Yes.
There we go.
The way it works, two modes we call passive, engaged, or active mode. I mentioned this, so it's flipping through a slideshow of content, 8 slides, 10 seconds each. When someone walks up and touch it, like the gentleman in the bottom right is doing, it opens up to an interactive software directory that we is proprietary. We created in-house. And if you go to the next slide, you can get a snapshot of what our software kind of looks like. And this is really a point of pride for us because I think it distinguishes us from other street furniture you might find in the right of way that is typically advertising funded, is our software platform. So this is all, and it's all meant to promote local, and there's no advertising component in our software directory list. So it's where to eat and drink, where's the nearest coffee shop, where's local events, local shopping, transit. So we have a bias for bus times, train times, that kind of information, directions, social services. So like it'll direct you to the nearest safe shelter. We have a job board that can pull in city, county, really whatever data is available. And you could actually like complete an application there at the kiosk. We have a selfie camera to take pictures with, one of our more popular applications, and we do custom frames and brands and filters. So like, the selfie in San Pedro could promote the fish market and do something cool and unique. And then the kiosk in downtown will do something totally different. If you go to the next slide, I always say, like, if you pull out your phone, you look for Mexican food, for example, Taco Bell is going to be probably what you find at the top because they pay on Google to get up there. If you use an Ike, that's not what you'll see. We mocked this one up. If you're standing in Koreatown, you'd get Guelaguetza, which is a really awesome Mexican restaurant. They have great mole. So like, and on the kiosk, you can pull it up, see the restaurant listing, a bunch of data. All this populates itself without any human intervention. We're using open API sources. And so it's sort of, I know earlier in the meeting you were talking about static wayfinding signage and helping folks, navigate the port and navigate San Pedro. That kind of signage is totally useful and necessary. We're trying to be sort of like a modern complement to it. Sometimes that signage is sort of hard to keep up to date, especially when it's describing retail or, restaurants or things like that. We find that the digital, the way to do that where it's self-updating or very easily to update is through a platform like ours. If you go to the next slide. And kind of consistent with that, we're not trying to compete with Apple. We're not trying to compete with your cell phone. We know most folks have cell phones. Not everybody does. And so for those that don't, you could actually use our free Wi-Fi, translate into one of the languages that we offer. We do 100 on every kiosk, get directions to here showing the Geffen, and actually send that to your phone all without a data plan. So I think that is a service that'll be more available to tourists, especially international tourists for the World Cup, for the Olympics, things like that. But even for local residents, you have a cell phone. We understand that. We're not trying to compete with it. We want everything that we have on the kiosk you can actually send to your phone with a QR code. I want to say now and clearly we do not collect and sell data, not part of the business model, just period, full stop, and happy to answer questions on that in any specifics. But what we try to do is really curate a local experience. So we're regularly partnering with bids, chambers, neighborhood councils, if they're willing to get involved with us and promote your content and show your events and promote the things that you want to see that are important to your community. And that's what you'd see in the passive mode slideshow and also in special applications. So the beauty of our system is we can actually develop custom applications for all of our stakeholder partners. And so they can see what they want reflected on the units. If you go to the next slide. Just an example of the different data that we can already pull. So we've already worked with 311 and the ITA group at the city to make sure that will work on the kiosk. LADOT, we can pull data. Metro, if there's a live data feed, we can pull it into the kiosk and show and it'll update itself in real time. So it always stays up to date. If you go to the next slide. I think the way that this has kind of come up for the city, we actually partnered with LA Tourism many years ago, and they sort of asked us to come and sort of be a complement to their tourism engagement platform, which I think in many ways the old model was sort of like a bunch of pamphlets and a brochure at a booth on Hollywood Boulevard, and they thought, hey, this is a digital version that could probably do a lot of that and do it more efficiently. Um, and the goal was always to try to get us going, before the World Cup, which we probably missed at this point, assuming, of course, we were lucky enough to win the bid. But the Olympics would be a very real target for us if we were so fortunate. And if you go to the next slide. And it's a really exciting thing for us. I think the Olympics will be, an even grander version, but we're in so many cities that are hosting World Cup games. We've been developing custom applications for each of those cities and even looking at applications that are cross promotional among different cities in the country. And here's just one snapshot of how that could look that I think could be really cool when there's different games going on, different events going on, near the port. I think Long Beach got sailing and a couple others. So I'm sure San Pedro is going to be filled with people doing different things. And this is one way we could drive engagement to local businesses, local watch parties, local merch events, things like that don't really benefit us in any way, but it's cool. It's just cool to drive engagement and be a part of it. And if you go to the next slide, just a snapshot of some of the cities that we're in that are part of the World Cup experience. And so for the Olympics, it'll be even more exciting. Go to the next slide. Just some of the financials. I know this is obviously the bid has not been released. Councilmember McCosker actually put forth a motion about a month ago to request that the bid be released. It was actually voted on by council in 2023, and then the RFP was never released by staff. And so Councilmember McCosker in the city's budget discussions said, well, let's go explore this. And there's no contract with us. It's not a guarantee. It's purely a bid. This is what I'm showing you is kind of what we have mocked up internally as our best foot forward. And of course, if we're lucky enough to bid on this, we'll sharpen our pencils again. But if we were to do 500 kiosks across the city, and that's all 15 council districts, so not just San Pedro, and we shared 50% of the net revenues to the city, we think that could generate about $37 million a year on average for the city. And we would be willing to guarantee 12.5 million of that upon full deployment. I know there have been some questions about how we relate to the bus shelter program STAP. We have no intention to be competitive with it. We actually worked out in 2020 like a whole bunch of distancing and siting requirements. The spirit of the deal is, of course, the bus shelter program is super important to the city, and we have no desire to compete with it. And so they get all the best locations. They're doing 3,000 units. We propose 300 to 500. We do view ourselves as sort of a complement overall to the city's revenue structure, and sort of a hedge in that space as well. So I'm happy to answer more questions about that. I think that's the rest of the pages in this presentation are more just some renderings that we've mocked up to kind of give a sense of scale. You maybe go to the next slide to show one example, and then that's all we probably need to show. Or this is the next step. So I talked about the motion that Councilmember McCosker put to the floor. It's heading at the last council meeting. It was directed to the Public Works Committee. So we're waiting for that to be scheduled. And again, this is just an RFP. It's not for us, but we hope to bid and win it. And I wanted to engage with you all earlier rather than later to answer any questions you may have and make sure that if we were fortunate enough to win, we can hopefully deploy the program in a way that you find acceptable. Here's just one rendering. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Happy to get into some questions.
I was wondering if you could address for us, at our last meeting, there was a map that was shared with the group about potential locations for IKE kiosks in San Pedro. And that kind of took a lot of us caught us off guard. So I was wondering, while we're looking at these beautiful renderings, if you could address that map.
Yeah, I'm happy to. The first thing I'll say is that map is not worth the paper it's printed on if you were to print it out. That map was created for a very specific context back in like 2019 or 2020, purely for framing the relationship between us and street furniture elements and how those distancing requirements will work. That map was never intended to be any indication for siting and is not our view of it. And I think we're so far away from that discussion. Um, we of course the way that this typically goes in cities for us is we of course come up with locations that we think make sense, but then we come to the community. We host community meetings. I would be coming and my team would be coming and talking to you all and saying, does this make sense? You know San Pedro better than I do. I'm not going to presume to think the opposite. And I would want your advice on where are the areas where these make sense, where are the areas where they don't. And maybe you don't think they make sense at all. That's okay too. What I can say is that we don't cite anything in any residential area. So purely commercial, pedestrian foot trafficked areas. And really this is meant, this is a benefit to local business. And so we're in, commercial districts. That map is, as far as I'm concerned, has no value whatsoever and is not going to be where we start when we start thinking about locations if we're lucky enough to get there.
And then you also had mentioned in the past that communities could opt out of certain areas. Like for an example, if we didn't want kiosks on Paseo del Mar, we could say to you, these are blackout areas. We do not want to see any kiosks in these particular areas. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know that I can give anybody a veto over anything specific, at least not at this juncture. What I can tell you is that all of your input we take to heart, and it is not our desire to put a kiosk anywhere where the community says, "Hey, no way, this isn't appropriate." We don't cite in historic districts. We're coastal. I know is going to be a concern here, and we'll have to think through that if we get there. If the community is very unanimous about, "Hey, guys, we don't like this," you're not going to have a fight from us. I can't, the citing process involves many, many stakeholders. Obviously, you all would be a part of anything we did in your communities, the council office. And then there's just other technical considerations like power and things like that. So there's a lot of variables to it. And I would hate to be absolute in this meeting and then walk it back later. What I can say is that we want your feedback and we're not here to put something where you guys are really opposed to us.
The question I have is, who, like, if someone comes up and does graffiti or, breaks the screen over, who's responsible for maintaining, cleaning it up, fixing it if it goes bad? Would it be, would it be the city?
We are. So this doesn't cost the city a dime. And it's only revenue positive. We maintain them at our cost. And you make a really good point, and it happens. Like I'm not going to tell you, hey, these things are clean 24/7. We get graffitied, we get tagged. We launched in Oakland, we got acid etched. That was a new one for me. We build them to be super durable, like and we build foundations underground, so you're not knocking them over or anything like that. But at the end of the day, you just got to have a team that goes out and maintains them. So what we do is we hire local teams to go out 5 days a week, once on a weekend, clean them, touch them, play with them. If there's a software problem, we can reboot it remotely, kind of report that in. If we have to do a repair, we can do it really quickly. We have a warehouse in Irvine that's got, many, many kiosks on hand, and we were lucky enough to purchase them all before tariffs. So we have inventory to replace and repair pretty quickly, but it's just, you got to have a good ground game.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
good evening. I wonder if you have a target number of kiosks that you would like to see in our community.
I don't have a specific one. Our initial proposal was 300 units, which would be about 15 per council district. I don't know that the city would want us to do an equal distribution. That's sort of what we assumed. So, and then we, proposed 500 here to sort of give a range, especially on the financial picture for the city. But I think that range is 15 to 30 per council district. I don't know how many would make sense in San Pedro. What I can say is it's not our desire to over proliferate and have too many elements that we can't maintain. You see that a lot with other street furniture programs. It's just too much inventory to manage, and it sort of crushes under its own weight. And we try to avoid that by being thoughtful. I think 15 probably a good number, but would want your feedback as well on that.
Clay, this is Elise again. The chamber, as you know, was very interested, and I just wanted you to address this with the group here today, on the LA waterfront, at the cruise ship terminal, at Sixth and Harbor, where we have a lot of cross traffic with visitors and tourists, maybe West Harbor. Now, I know that's another jurisdiction because it is the Port of LA and you have the City of LA. Could some of those 15 be put in port tourism locations like cruise ship terminals? Could that be put against the total, do you think? Or do you have to go in front of the Harbor Commission and ask
Yeah.
for permission, or what would that process look like? Because that was our excitement, is really working with the, millions of cruise ship passengers that are coming through.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I don't have a perfect answer. We would love to be there. I think that makes a lot of sense, and you're really capturing, tourists right at the source. Um, I do think, what's currently contemplated is just the city of LA, and so I don't think they would have jurisdiction at the port. If they did, or what we've seen in other cities, like we're in San Diego, and we can't go on port property. The port is actually considering doing an RFP, so it'd be sort of the same procurement entitlement, but a whole separate body.
Okay, thank you.
No other questions? I don't see any online.
I have a question.
Oh,
So,
please.
hi, Clay.
Hi.
Did you say, remind me, because I know we've gone over an awful lot of information, and I love the presentation. Are the kiosks gonna be plexi or are they gonna be glass?
Sorry,
Is the material going to be plastic, plexi, or is it gonna be glass?
it's glass. It's a very tempered glass.
Okay.
And then an LED sits within it.
Okay, and then, will you remind me what you said about charging, phone charging?
No phone charging. We don't have any way to plug into our kiosk.
Okay, got it.
It was Wi-Fi. It was free
Wi-Fi,
Wi-Fi
that's
at
what I
Rome,
heard.
right?
Okay.
So the community benefit from free Wi-Fi. You have QR codes. Yeah, very, very innovative. So we want to look at it next time we go to San Francisco. I think I'm going to take a look in
Yeah.
Oakland. I'm wondering, I thought acid, like when I played with acid in school, like the glass beakers were, so you're telling me there's an acid that actually eats glass, or that was one of the attacks in Oakland?
Yes.
I've got a son up there, so I'm going to have him go research that for me.
And then, are they up in Culver City yet?
Our contract, we won an RFP in Culver City at the end of last year, and our contract is going forward for approval next month. And they're doing the same. Our sequencing is our contract approval will come in July, August, and then we'll do community meetings to pick the locations, and then bring that to the city council too. So very public process to pick the locations there as well.
A good process to monitor.
So I'm gonna use my prerogative now to ask two questions. One is financially, what if the city, in this process, go to neighborhoods, you can't get to 300? I love seeing there's this guarantee of 12.5 million. That probably scales down if the city can't deliver. First question.
Yeah, good. Do you want me to take that one first?
Yeah, take that one.
You're completely correct. So the way the deal works is we do a minimum annual guarantee per kiosk. So what we propose is 25,000 a unit a year. So up to 12.5 million at 500, and then just pro rata scales down if the city decided it wanted fewer units. The 50%, and it's the greater of that floor, or 50%, which is what it is.
But that's pretty attractive. Like, I'm also now a budget advocate. The city's becoming almost broke. So, and there's no cost. Great question Adrian asked about. They don't have to maintain them. You're taking care of all that. And it's a very safe financial investment for the city if we want these things. Second question then would be, given two big events and ensuring, Lisa's interest, I know I would be promoting to work with the port to actually get them where we want.
Exactly.
I think most of our 15, or at least half, would probably go on port property. What's the timeline? Like there was an approval process slide I went through pretty quickly, but realistically, will these be up for the World Cup? Or, that's your goal? And what do you want from us to help you do that if we think this is something we want to support? So just kind of timeline, how do we work with you?
Great questions. Timing, it usually takes us about 9 months to a year after contract approval. I think the big question here is CEQA and what sort of a review is required. In every other California jurisdiction, we've been exemptions. We've done exemptions and we haven't been challenged. LA, I know, is unique, and I know there's different thinking around that. Obviously, the city is going to, make that call. that would be the big timeline that would, the big timeline factor. I think the World Cup would probably be tough to do at this point. Olympics is still very much, down the fairway. And forgive me, your second question.
Oh, no, that was two. One was financial, one was timeline. So thank you.
Oh, and then support. I think, for us, um, if you were so inclined, we would love to have a letter of support or a public acknowledgement, and happy to discuss that further offline. I think for us, we're just one bidder trying to do this, and we do think that our approach is more community oriented, and we're trying to do this in a way that does make money for the city, but also doesn't just intrude on your community and shows art and shows your values reflected back to you. My team, this is what we do. We partner with groups to get cool content on there, and it's kind of fun to do. So that would be, our ask, but totally understand you all. I defer to you all and to your process.
And thank you, Clay. I think we've bumped you from meetings before too, right? So appreciate your patience with us and your patience for a very, very long meeting today. So
no worries.
One last question.
Last question, Clay. And everybody, please don't shoot the messenger. But have you, I'm assuming that this probably has come up in other discussions, but in regard to the free Wi-Fi, I know, with our transient homeless folks, and the placement of these can be very important because all of our communities are very sensitive to any area that has free Wi-Fi out in the community becoming a hub and or encampment, an encampment issue. So, we've experienced it here in San Pedro at our library, our public library, and our main drag of Kathy. It has been I would say, coming from a public safety background, this has been an absolute huge issue for the community because we've had encampments for decades because they have free Wi-Fi that actually doesn't get turned off at night, shall we say, overnight when the library is not in session, or I'm sorry, not open. So how is this working out there for you in general?
Yeah, great question. It's something we've thought about a lot. It's a hard question, right? It's tough. No matter what you do, you don't feel great about it. But what we do, two things that we do, and every market is a little bit different. What we do consistently in all markets, it's very low grade Wi-Fi, and we throttle it, and that's by design. So you can't watch HBO on your phone off our Wi-Fi. You can send emails. You could send work emails. The other thing is, and some cities have just opted out. So everything that we do on the kiosk, we have our selfie photo booth camera, which just does selfies and only activates when you push it. We have free Wi-Fi. We have many other features. We can basically pluck out anything that any city doesn't want, no cost to the city to add it later or never have it at all. And so we have had some cities say, hey, we don't even want to mess with the Wi-Fi. And if that's the choice LA made, okay with us.
And could that be kiosk specific? Could we have Wi-Fi at half of them? And is that part of your revenue model?
No. So not at all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
All right, good clarifying question.
Yep.
All right, well, I want to get back to my job. It's a law here.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for the time. I really appreciate it. I'm going to hop off, but if you have any questions, please, you know how to find me. All right.
All right,
Bye.
so much appreciated. All right, well, I heard kind of off topic that we probably didn't want to consider our CAS at this meeting. Is that how we're still feeling, or?
On.
For item number 7, consider CS in opposition to Council File 250642 unless amended, the off-street parking requirement elimination.
Thomas, I'm suggesting we continue that to next. There's not urgent, and we're.
Just wanted to make sure, because I'm going to acknowledge that we are moving on from 7. But Robin mentioned that, and if suddenly people had a burst of energy or there was a quick vote, we go on. And Elise, I believe you did it before with Axel.
That's correct.
So I can check, we can check that box. So we've done that. So any public watching this will see we're doing what we say.
Yes.
Number 9, now I've kind of forgotten my updates. I've been talking today about that, but I'm at a loss, but this is for everybody. Does anybody have an update on items of interest to this committee?
I do have a procedural question, if that's okay, on the interactive kiosk experience, Ike. I don't know, Robin, is that something that we can take to coastal planning and land use now that Clay has clarified some of the questions? Is it, because they are asking for, letters of support if neighborhood councils are interested? Is that something we can agendize for a future meeting?
Yeah, probably a little bit into the future because the RFP hasn't even gone out yet. It's going to Public Works Committee. So we'll continue to monitor it, and when the time's right, we'll bring it back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, why don't you share that, Kane, with the group?
Sure. There is a motion regarding the Harbor Boulevard medians. Elise?
So that, Northwest and Coastal have submitted letters of support for the Harbor Boulevard medians to the council member. We're waiting on Central on the Harbor Boulevard median. So we're gonna present at your land use committee in the future. Tim introduced it Monday. It's moving forward. The council office is gonna let us know when it goes to committee for a hearing. So that is progressing forward, and that motion transfers the jurisdiction of city-owned medians on Harbor Boulevard to the Port of LA, so they can be incorporated into the PAIP process for landscaping, design and installation. And then we would work with the P-bid or other contractors on maintenance.
Okay.
But it at least gets it into the overall process for design and moving forward.
Thank you, Frank.
Mhm.
All right, anyone else have? Or anything?
Good.
One last thing. Actually.
You want to join us at the club?
Sure. Yeah. Well,
I might have my back to you,
No,
I feel
know,
bad.
That's okay. You know me, I'm a all weather.
You know, it's easier for people online to get.
Right, exactly. So there is, I'd like to make a recommendation to all three neighborhood councils, if it's not already there, that the LA Parks needs assessment from the Department of Park and Recreation, that they have a website set up to get public input. I think
So at the last central board meeting, we submitted comments. I can get you our comments.
And I
Okay.
submitted individually. I don't know when that closes.
But maybe I'm not being specific enough. I think this should be an announcement that the neighborhood councils put out to, on email so that folks can know that it's out there in case they haven't seen it. On the social media side, I've already submitted my comments, and many of us have. But this is a huge opportunity for the neighborhood
Order of
councils.
July stakeholder meeting.
Thank you. There you go.
Did they say when it closes, the comment period? Because I'll put it out through our chamber e-news too.
For neighborhood council, the end of June 2nd. I don't know
Too late.
Oh, it's too late.
for
then.
neighborhood councils, yeah, that's why it's probably submitted over the last month.
Okay.
I don't know for stakeholders.
Stakeholder survey is still.
Okay, all right.
I can get you our.
Okay, thanks.
Adrian, anything?
No.
Anyone online? And Jason, no? Okay, we're gonna move on. Public comments on items not on the agenda? Consider dates for November and December meeting. And that was because.
Holidays or?
Yeah, it wasn't because you're not gonna let us use the road.
No, it's not, it has nothing to do with it.
So I'm gonna put that one on it. and-
For the holidays.
1, 2, 3, well, November 19th, we're the fourth Wednesday because the 26th is the evening before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe in the past, we've done the Wednesday before, which would be November 19th.
Would like to vote on that.
Okay. Sad. Okay. All right,
Let's,
I'll mark that off on the calendar.
let's vote on both of them at the same time.
Okay, and then December, 1, 2, 3, December is Christmas Eve. Our meeting would fall on Christmas. Eve.
Yeah, I don't think we voted on it. Do we think we would want to meet? Do we want to meet in December? We could go dark.
unless there's an urgent issue, I don't know what you all think, but December meetings are brutal.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that we did the same thing for many years. That we moved us up a week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I think we've eliminated the December meeting. As I
So we
recall.
won't make a change. We can just cancel that when we
Okay,
get.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we can proactively cancel it, but should we vote then on?
If there's a consensus, maybe we don't need to vote.
Okay, I don't know if we have to vote on these changes
Okay.
or not.
I don't think so.
Is there anybody opposed to meeting in November and moving it 1 week before? That's an easier way to do it. We can record it for the note taker. There was no opposition, so we have changed the November meeting. We will leave the December meeting as is, anticipating cancellation the week before. But
Okay.
that gives us the ability, if there is an emergency, to do something different. And now, it's non-debatable. This is my favorite part from, you saw me start this meeting out, I think it's Senator Norman, so the motions to adjourn the meeting are non-debatable.
Okay, well done, Thomas. Thank you.
Good job.
July 23rd, where we will maybe be served by another co-chair.
Okay. All right. No, excellent. Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
8:25.
8:25, okay.
And we'll-